1. Background. I work nights at a small chain grocery store near me. I have a full-time job during the day and head over to this retail job at night and work 6 to 10 p.m. as a cashier. Most weeknights is extremely slow. I'm talking maybe 2 or 3 customers per hour after 8 p.m. And we were told that as long as there is no customers around or waiting to be cashed out, you can be on your phone. We always stay close to monitor our lanes, and usually we will notice anyone walking down and immediately assist them, regardless. All of the names in this have been changed. So a typical Wednesday night is about 8:45 p.m. and there is only a few customers walking around the store. We have 3 cashiers, 2 female, 1 male, me included, a senior cashier, female, and a customer service manager, also female, on the front, and the stocking staff, who are mostly male, throughout the store restocking the shelves. Most of the time we don't stand behind our registers waiting for people to walk up. We kind of group up together and chat or lean up against one of the racks and do stuff on our phones. In this particular scenario, the only male front-end employee was on self-check and was meticulously using scissors to trim the edges of ripped-out coupons. The dude's got odd hobbies, I don't judge. While the remaining staff, all female, were either chatting or on their phones. I was reading a book on my phone. All of a sudden, one of the store managers, Tad, walks over to where most of us congregated and asks us to come near him. The conversation goes like this. "Hey guys, we just got a complaint. A customer said that she is tired of coming in here at night and seeing all the women on their phones and screwing around while all the men do the work. She said that all the female employees ignored her when she had a question and that they should be put to work while the men get to take a break. I explained the store policy about downtime, but she apparently has only seen the female employees on their phones and claimed it's not a fair policy and should be changed to include all male employees." I'm flabbergasted. What the hell is she talking about? We were told that we were allowed to have our phones out if there's no people, and nobody's come up and asked us anything. Most of the store staff, aside from the front end, is males, so... I know, but can you kind of be discreet? I begin to ask who she is, but he cuts me off. I'm not telling you who she is. She wanted to remain anonymous. Most of us roll our eyes, but not at him. You could tell he didn't give a rat's patootie about what she had to say. Now, while Ted didn't tell us who this complaining customer was, there were only 2 people in the store at this time, and one was a guy, so process of elimination. Sure enough, 15 minutes later, Karen struts her way down my lane with her nose in the air and a satisfied smirk on her lips, dropping all her groceries on the belt. I give her the customer service voice and fake smile, but I keep seeing her side-eye my phone while it's sitting on the counter to my right, where the receipt printer sits. I cash her out. She snatches the receipt and stomps out, not saying a word but making sure to shoot my other female co-workers dirty looks as she leaves. She's a repeat customer. I've seen her in there quite a few times during my shifts at night. And I recognize her as the same woman who consistently complains about only female staff, which was confirmed by every female worker I asked after this happened. Almost every woman that works on the store floor, me included, has had at least one nasty run-in with her. So I turn to my fellow employees and a grin spreads on my face. It's on. Fast forward about a week later, Monday night. I'm working my normal 6 to 10 shift, but this time it's me, 2 male cashiers, a female senior cashier, and a male front-end manager. All of the stalkers are male that night and are in on what I've been planning and waiting to execute. I look up at around 9 p.m. and I see none other than Karen strutting into the front of the store. It's go time. The front-end manager hops on her walkie-talkie to all the stocking crew, telling them that Special K is in the store. Immediately all the stalkers drop whatever they're doing and pull out their phones. Leaning against the shelves while they play around, even the one male employee at the deli got his phone out, while his female co-worker was the only one helping customers. It takes her a good 20 minutes to make her way through the store. Later I find out she walked through almost every aisle and saw 6 out of the 7 stock guys on their phones, including the deli, who all ignored her. The second she rounds the corner to come up to the front with her purchases, me and the senior female cashier both get to work, heads down and cleaning registers neighboring ones that are open, and trying not to laugh. while the 3 male employees stand in a circle on their phones. Karen walks down one of the lanes and drops her stuff, but none of my male associates pay her any attention. She clears her throat and turns to Savannah, my coworker, who is cleaning the lane next to the one she's standing at. And I can hear her clear as day. "Excuse me, can someone ring up my items?" "I'm so sorry, miss. I'm cleaning like I'm supposed to. One of the guys is in that register." She points to the group of male employees who all look up from their phones and blink at her. Eric, the brave one of the group, who just so happens to be on that register, just smiles at her and says, "I'll be right there. We're taking a much-deserved break," and looks back down at his phone. This woman starts stammering and ranting about how this is unacceptable, that the men in this store have always been so helpful. She demands to see a manager who happens to be female that night and in on our plan. Nick, the customer service manager, tells her with a straight face that Emily is currently unloading one of the trucks in the back and can't leave the merchandise. But he'd be glad to provide her the customer service number if she would like to make a complaint. She accepts that, and he hands her one of the business cards with the number on it. I give them a cut-off signal and the charade ends. Eric walks over and begins cashing her out, the same bright smile on his face. Karen is grumbling under her breath about how abnormally rude the employees have been. When Eric hands her the receipt, he looks her dead in the eyes and goes for the kill shot. "Well, ma'am, we're just making sure that all of the men get their deserved breaks while the ladies do the work." Her face turns red and her expression drops as she quickly grabs her bags and rushes out of the store. I haven't seen her since, and she never called the customer service number to complain. 2. I used to work IT tech support for a large company, and it was my first proper job, so I started as an apprentice. This story takes place about a year into my apprenticeship, so I still had much to learn. On this particular week, I was working the shift that started an hour earlier than everyone else. As in, I was solely responsible for support before everyone else arrived at 9 a.m. My manager sent me on a job quite a few miles south. It was going to take 2-ish days. On Monday, I informed my manager I'd be leaving Wednesday afternoon and be coming back Friday afternoon, and he'd need to cover my shift. It isn't my responsibility, and I didn't need to say anything, but I thought I'd help him out by giving him a nudge. "Mike, I'm on early this week, so someone will need to cover my shift Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday." "Cheers, mate." It came to Wednesday, and I suspected he hadn't arranged anything, so I thought I'd give him another nudge, genuinely trying to help the guy out. "Mike, just letting you know that my early shift will need covering for the rest of this week." Right you are. Thanks, pal." So off I went to Wednesday thinking I was doing a great job and keeping everyone in the loop. We knocked the job out of the park and finished by Thursday evening, so I head to the hotel and enjoy some sweet, sweet expenses. Friday morning, I head out in a rental they'd given me for the trip and start the journey back to the head office. I get a call from my manager. "Where are you?" "Heading back. I've just set off. I'll be back in the—" "I don't see anything in your calendar." I didn't put anything in it. I told, "The finance director came in this morning and couldn't access the system, and you were supposed to be here for 8 a.m. I told you, speak to me when you get back. The finance director happens to be my boss's boss's boss, not a dude you want to piss off, and he was. Turned out his network cable somehow came loose, kicked, and he couldn't access the network. He sat stewing from 7 a.m. expecting someone to arrive by 8 and fix it, only to have no one turn up until 8:45, the head of IT, my boss's boss, who took a fair few expletives on the chin. I arrived back at the office as planned, expected, and informed Friday afternoon. My manager calls me over and gives me a lecture on the importance of communication. I tell him, I told you Wednesday I'd be back Friday afternoon and my shift would need covering. He couldn't even look at me as he says the following in the most condescending manner possible, loud enough for the head of IT to hear. I don't know, Jam and Cream. I've got a pretty good memory, and I do not recall that conversation. Then sends me to the head of IT, who gives me a bit of a sterner lecture on the importance of communication. The word disappointed was mentioned. I go back to my desk defeated, my victory in the South quashed and sullied. My manager finishes the barrage. Next time, put it in the calendar and tell everyone in writing. The words ricocheted around my mind for a while, until they settled and sat imprinted in my brain. I chalked this up to a learning experience and carried on. Fast forward a few months later. The words lay dormant until a bizarrely similar situation occurs. I was sent on a job for a few days and was returning once again on a Friday afternoon, and it just so happened to fall in a week when I was doing the early shift. As soon as I heard about the job, the words sprang back into life. Put it in the calendar, tell everyone in writing. Now, I could have put the details of my trip in my personal calendar, but I thought, why not enter it in the IT department's shared calendar, which means the head of IT is part of it. And when telling everyone in writing, surely that means everyone involved last time. IT department and of course the finance director. So I sent off an email to my manager with the IT department, and just for fun, the finance director copied in, something like, "Hi Mike, as you are already aware, I'll be working down south this week until Friday afternoon. I am on the early shift, so this will need covering while I'm away." Some of my colleagues asked what that was about, and I informed them about my manager's memory issues. They smirk and continue working. I complete the job and arrive back Friday afternoon, exactly like before. And like before, the finance director came in early, and unbelievably like before, he had issues getting on the system. Choice expletives were shared, words were had. But not with me. I only knew shit had hit the fan when a colleague pulled me to one side and told me why Mike was in such a foul mood. In classic British style, he never said a word to me. And never has a silence felt so vindicating. 3. In the 80s, I was in the army and stationed in Germany. When I originally arrived at my platoon, we had a great platoon sergeant and a terrific platoon leader. Our platoon was number 1 in the whole battalion for pretty much everything, and life was good. Fast forward about a year, and we got both a new platoon sergeant and new platoon leader within weeks of each other. But we figured life would go on, and seeing as how we were already the best in our battalion, things should continue on pretty much as they were. Unfortunately, the new crew had other ideas. For some reason, they felt that though we were the best, they were going to break us down and make us better. Their thoughts being we had obviously been ineptly led by nincompoops. We understand that everyone wants to make their mark when they get a new unit, but calling us all to a formation and telling us we were essentially worthless and weak didn't have the intended effect. After running us around for a month, basically attempting to change all of the things we did that worked into their version of a team of monkeys shagging a football, it was time to go to the field. In those days, we had the old school army jeeps that told a trailer full of all the fun things that we took to the field, and of course, some things we probably shouldn't. To combat this problem and to promote good organization, we were required to have a load plan. Each box was assigned a spot in the trailer and was labeled as to its contents. The rule was, if it isn't on your load plan, it isn't going in the trailer. This was rigorously enforced by all of the newly promoted sergeants, who had nothing better to do than tell us minions to scurry about and attempt to earn their praise. We of course tried to stay as far away from anyone with too many stripes, and fled to the motor pool only to make brief appearances when absolutely necessary. For a little background, our new lieutenant was prior service enlisted, and went to college on an ROTC scholarship, got his commission and re-entered the military as a freshly minted second lieutenant. We all figured that he'd already experienced bad leadership, so having the benefit of being on the receiving end of said bad leadership, he'd know how things were supposed to be done. And we were wrong. He had the worst case of, "Does I tell you not what I do?" that I've seen in a very long time, and he seemed to take great pleasure in our misery. For our first day into the field led by our intrepid leaders, we were explicitly told that if the army didn't issue it, we weren't allowed to take it with us. This included any clothing that was civilian in nature and could keep us comfortable and warm. It also included any food items that were actually edible because sea rations were good enough. Spoiler, they weren't, and all you sissies that complain about MREs, meals ready to eat, can try eating ham and eggs out of a can. As we were loading up, I was called into the orderly room, where a fairly substantial footlocker was sitting open. Inside was quite an assortment of snack cakes, crackers, sausages, and all manner of other goodies, all of which were prohibited. Of course, since this locker was owned by the lieutenant and the platoon sergeant, it was considered official equipment and quite necessary. Just as I walked into the room, they slammed the lid and placed a padlock on the box, assuming, incorrectly, that I hadn't just seen the Ark of the Covenant of junk food. I was then ordered to take the top-secret box of delights out to my jeep and stowed with everything else I was tasked to keep track of. Shortly after I found room in my trailer, one of our sergeants, an E5, that was only a sergeant because they either had to promote him or get rid of him, asked my co-driver to show him the load plan. Remember, this is the official document that says what can and cannot be in your trailer. After a thorough inspection, the wayward box that wasn't supposed to be there, officially, was located, and he was asked what the box was and what was in it. My buddy told the sergeant that he had no idea what was in that box, or how it got in the jeep, and was ordered to take it out of the trailer and deposit it in the basement, or we would both be subject to some sort of punishment, befitting our attempt at smuggling some sort of deadly contraband. Since nobody asked me, I just remained respectfully quiet, and then I, being the obedient soldier that I was, and wanting to follow orders, picked up the box and found a nice dark corner to deposit it in, so that it would be safe and waiting for us upon our return. When we got to the field, the lieutenant and platoon sergeant started inquiring about their box, so I told them that Sergeant Doofus made us take it out of the trailer. According to the complaining parties, that precious box officially contained all manner of equipment that was totally necessary for us to successfully complete all of our missions in the field. Thankfully, we seemed to miraculously have a second set of everything that was supposed to be kept in the box, so the day was saved. So you can say that this is the story of how, any time we went to the field from then on, there was always a bit of extra space for the odd box of creature comforts, and nobody's load plan was checked at a microscopic level anymore. 4. I'm a utility that works for a company that supplies its own mine site with hospitality workers in the remote north of Western Australia. This generally entails working in roles such as mine site detailing, housekeeping, or kitchen and dining. I got into only recently, having spent the last couple of decades being a single mother and doing casual work wherever I could in between caring for the kids. As my 6 are older and 3 have moved out and the 3 still at home are a little more self-reliant, I decided to do remote hospitality. I have also recently got myself a mortgage after years of renting privately. Yay. And I wanted to find a job that paid well, hence the foray into remote mine site hospitality. I've been there for a little over a couple of years now. It's a thankless job, with long hours and a lot of gruff, unfriendly supervisors along the way who like to push the company line and harbor a take-no-prisoners line of thinking when it comes to their subordinates. I recently spent about half a year off with injury and just returned to the job. I've passed all medicals, but I won't lie, it's been a struggle getting readjusted to it, especially not being so young anymore. I'm 53 and on the short side of just being 5 foot and a little more unfit than I used to be prior to the injury. Anyhow, onto the story. The supervisors and managers had put me in housekeeping, cleaning workers' quarters in mid-40 degrees Celsius heat for 11 hours a day with a laden-down large trolley that is filled with linen, cleaning products, and a mop and bucket. The company insisted on a time limit of 10 minutes, spent stripping beds, sweeping floors, dusting all surfaces, replacing dounas and shower curtains, and then remaking beds. Then cleaning their rooms and toilets and empty and replace bins. They wanted 3 rooms per hour minimum, which is doable but can be challenging when showers are made for taller people. Ripping off shower curtains is easy. Putting back on, a lot more time consuming. Replacing dounas also annoying, and you have a list of at least 25 plus rooms a day that need doing. Combine that with my age and the hotter-than-hell temperatures, etc., well, it might sound easy to some of you younger, more sprightly folk, but it's not, believe me. They wanted 12 to 15 rooms minimum done before lunchtime alone, and made it clear that failure to do so was not an option. Factor in an hour's lunchtime break, and truck days where they take workers away for up to 2 hours, to help unload it and replenish different rooms with stock is frustrating, and stressful at times to say the least. And you need to be fast, plus I've spent the majority of my stints away in the kitchen, which is a little fast-paced but not as brutal as it's spent in aircon most of the day. and not in and out of 40+ degree temperatures, so I was slower and hot and drained of energy, not being used to the hellish temperature outside and the different work dynamics of housekeeping. Being older and off work so long made it tougher than it should have been on me. Cue malicious compliance. I got my rooms done. I only changed dunas and shower curtains. If they really needed or were not a permanent room, did a quickie job dusting. And on the bathrooms, quick sweep of dust out the door and glide a mop along the floor, arrange towels with soap in an attractive way on a freshly made bed and closed door. Room done. Yes, I cut a lot of corners in detailing, but it still looked clean. But if I did all the things they told me I was supposed to be doing, it would have taken forever, and failure to finish my run was not an option, remember? You might ask why I was doing such a job, why I didn't get an easier one in the city, etc., etc. Well, not for want of trying, plus a lot of employers down in the city did not want a 50+ person, preferring to hire much younger individuals, and I could not earn anywhere close to what I would earn up here in remote sites than if I worked down in Perth in the metropolitan area. I have a mortgage to pay and a 3-child household still at home. Yes, I still support them, as being young and not earning much, they still need me. I hope I have another 10 or 15 years of working life left in me, but who knows what's around the corner. Thanks for listening. 5. When I was 19, I worked at what we shall call Mikey's Arts and Crafts. One stiff manager often got on my nerves, but I made sure to follow the rules. From here on out, he shall be known as Douche Canoe, DC for short. More often than not, I was a cashier. During the holiday season, it is quite busy with families wanting to make Christmas crafts together. I have non-diabetic hypoglycemia, which is key to this story. This means I absolutely need to ensure that I have plenty of protein to burn. But in a bind, I can keep my low blood sugar up with sugar, and it does come with consequences. DC was aware of this. My mother had been cute enough to come by with a bag of Del Taco, 2 cheesy burritos, some fries, and a cold soda. I placed a bag and drink under the register. I made sure DC knew I was overdue for my scheduled lunch break. He brushed this off because a few people called in sick, but said it was my duty to stay up there until I had register relief. In a bind, the woman working in floral was able to help cover the register. There were plenty of shift leads, a woman at the customer service desk with a register, and the kind-hearted store manager wasn't working that day. I kept my mouth shut, took sips of my soda between customers to keep from getting dizzy, and once an hour reminded DC I needed a break. Sugary soda saved me, but was rough on my stomach. DC relieved me with a shift lead 2 hours after my lunch break. He scolded me on the way to the back room where the break area and manager's office was. I let him know my stomach was upset. DC informed me that the only way I could go home is if I threw up. I asked him if he was sure. DC confirmed this, and I decided not to hold back any longer. I vomited all over his shiny black shoes. Shaking with rage, DC pointed to the back area and told me I could go home. Despite the sour stomach, I was quite pleased as I heated my food up for the road and clocked out. I think he got his just desserts for depriving someone with a medical condition of their lunch break. To think this could all have been avoided if he treated me like a human being, and not a machine, makes me laugh. After the incident, DC was sure to let me take my lunch breaks on time. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Revenge is Ice Cream, number 40. I almost said 39 there. Number 40. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. I know I've been doing a lot of these recently, but I thought we'd take a little bit of a break from the iPop videos. They will return, don't worry. Next week we'll have neckbeards, and I think I'll do another iPop the week after that. I was just really in the mood to do revenge. I'll keep the rest of this short. I just want to say thank you very much for all the nice words you left on the latest glitch video. Much appreciated. And as always with the videos, if you think you know anyone who might enjoy it, then a share is appreciated. It does help the channel, it helps me, it does help make more videos overall. Right, I'm going to nip off and get these videos made now, because I have a shiny new episode of Picard ready to be watched. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.